Hello, welcome back to yet another episode of the Alocasia series or the Alocasia Diaries. This is just a little recap because I did this plant, the Stingray, in three different sections or in three different segments, and the first one was corrupted with no audio. Because this plant failed quite quickly, let me show you what happened and let's do a recap of the whole pre-pot and everything that happened in between. You can see that I have removed basically all of it. There's a little bit in the core that is, guess what, corks, but I have softened it enough that if that becomes dry, there's still plenty of roots, but I don't want to be more invasive than I already have, so I'm gonna do the same. Considering that this mix that this plant was in was quite dense, I am gonna add a little extra of the earthworm castings in order to give it a little more support. But you see that the root system is just great at the moment. And remember, it was all the way at the bottom of the pot. So introducing a small base, earthworm castings, slow release, systemic. Because I heard, again, I have not have these plants ever for too long of a time. They tend to like be goners real quick. We're gonna add some of my powder here. This is the rooting hormone here will motivate the plant to get new roots, and the sulfur and the cinnamon powder will help to prevent any rotting.
He's wrong.
And there are a couple of corms you see that, but I don't know if these plants particularly are, the corms are small. I'm just going to harvest that one as the only guarantee because the other ones are really small. You can see they're tiny, and this is a tiny corm for this as a plant. It's just a gamble. So just make sure that all the roots are well accommodated. And here add my mycorrhizae. Because of all that network or really fine roots, we need to make a good slapping of the pot here. That's why the airborne castings will do a great job of filling those little gaps. Also, the airworm castings being a finer material, give me a little more anchor. That's why I keep it like around the base of the plant. So when it sifts into where the roots are, they have a little more grip on the whole new medium. At this point, I'll add my DE. I'm gonna add a little bit more of slow release fertilizer and systemic. I'm going to the bottom of my container that has smaller particle material so it can get and also fill those smaller gaps. See how the plants start having more stability by itself now. I'm gonna add just a little bit of the peat moss with the perlite that was in the plant, just enough to give me a little more stability. But
2 hours later.
So the plant still needs a little more stability, but I don't want to add any more of that. So what I'm going to add is sand. What I have is green sand because I know this sand is great for plants and it's quite fine and it's very well draining. So now to finish the stability part, what I'm going to do is just give it a with water, and that will end up pushing the rest of the materials down below. So let me do that and show you how the plant stabilizes after the water.
Blah, 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 blah.
So it's still like a little wobbly, but I'm just gonna let it sit. And subsequent waterings, the soil will finish adapting. So if I see in the next couple of days that it still is too wobbly, then I'll add more airborne castings or sand. So there it is. And I will keep you updated with as it grows or as it dies, just like I have done with like all my other plants. Like the idea of these channels for me is to keep it as honest as it gets, because I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm just gonna tell you what my experiences with the plants, either successes or failures, because it's the only way that you can take anything from this channel. This is not just about like showing up plants and for you not to get anything out of it. So regardless of how this plant develops, just like I mentioned with the Friday, with the Jacqueline, and with this particular plant in the past, even though that I don't have footage for that, but we will have footage of this. I really appreciate you sticking around. Please drop a like if you enjoy it. I'm gonna address this one right now because it's been about 10 days since I did this repot, and you can see that this plant has already thrown a fit. So there's a few leaves that have completely turned yellow, and I don't know if these have a little bit of like sun damage, even that they have not been in direct sunlight. We can tell obviously that this one is not happy. And considering that at this time I have the new mix that I made for it, and the hardest thing for this plant has been to being stable in this mix. I'm just gonna give it a try with a new mix, and maybe it bounce back. Yeah, it's definitely rotting. Because look at all this root loss.
My God, why?
A huge amount of root loss. And I'm gonna check on the video there. I thought that I removed all of this cork, but obviously I not fully remove everything. Tiny little corn here. Look, this is okay. I don't know if this is gonna be salvable at all. It looks like it has mush all the way. But one of the things that I mentioned about this plant before, the very last time that I got it, I also got it, and it was this size. It was like already really grown and everything. I not even got to repot it the last time. I watered it one time. I got this one, and I also got a Jacqueline that time. That was last year, and they both did the exactly same thing. I watered them one time, and they completely rotted. Let's see what is the amount of roots that we are working with, because maybe with one of them I will try to grow water roots for pond, and then the other one put them in this new soil that I made. So let's give it a wash. I mean, it has completely thrown a massive fit. All right, so let's clean the leaves that are goners. All right, so I'm gonna remove those 3 leaves and leave these 3. And this one that has the least amount of leaves left when I prop them in water. Now this one, actually, the root systems are quite similar, but still, I'm gonna give it a try. One in water to see if it can grow water roots to prop it in pond later on. Like I mentioned on the soil mix, that is not something that has worked for me. I have tried it before, and I have tried with smaller plants, especially with silver dragons. Now, of course, I don't have a cabinet, and I don't have any type of terrarium or prop box that is big enough to accommodate this plant. So what I will do is just hope for the best and see how it does, because I've seen plants in my care with worse scenarios of this, and they have come back. The difference is that there's still a large system to be supported by this tiny amount of roots. So that is something that you know we'll have to see how the plant responds to what we're gonna do next. All right, so I got one more of these little vessels that I got the other day, and that will be for for this mix, and I already got water in this one that is quite sturdy, and I'll be able to prop it without needing to, add too much to it. They are both so similar that I'm having hesitation on which one to do in what, but I guess they're the same. Now, considering that this one has some sort of a corm coming out to the side, I'm gonna put this one in the mix, and I'm gonna put this one in the water. I need just to add a little bit more water and keep the water right there at the root level and monitor that water daily. So wish me luck with that. And then on this one, I'm gonna do the usual type of repot. I cannot believe that it took a week. I'm gonna put it on the screen now how long ago I did this repot. Now, let me mention something that I learned about this situation. When these roots are mush and everything because they rotted, the reason that the plant fails is because when they rot, these roots no longer have access to water. So that's why the plant also fails, like it gets suffocated. Those roots haven't get access to water or nutrients or anything. So that's why one of the ways to save it is by propping it in water with the healthy roots. We'll do the same thing with this, but it's going to be in this mix. But I'm going to put them on a mix, so the reservoir part of this is going to be way below the root system, because I'm also not going to have, I don't have enough of a root system to support the plant together, so I'm going to put the tutor in to give it an extra support. And let's put the tutor in now, so I don't have to shove it among the roots later on. But let's give this, of course, the magic powder that most definitely needed. And I used this powder on the previous repot, so it's not a fail safe. But in my experience, these have been almost the guarantee failures. Unfortunately, I'll try to do the best with those. These little corms are so small that I don't think they will be viable, but we'll give it a try, and who knows. Now, the good news of this is that we'll find out real soon in the next week or so, at the longest in the next month, if this plant is responding well to this. And if not, I will just take it back and return it. I got this one at Lowe's. All right, so I'm just gonna give it a water with some nutritious water. I need to add a little bit of diatomaceous earth there. That's the update and finish on the Stingray. And I'm gonna put them inside that they're not getting the breeze out here, because that also might be a factor that is crossing them.